You might be wondering how music can be catalyst for change and why a musicologist is talking about this topic. Bear with me as I'm going to tell you the story of the Sape. Sape craft from a single block of wood. Traditionally has 2 to 4 strings, and the strings were made of rattan, palm fiber, and later bicycle brass wire. For generations, this instrument was used to accompany the warrior dance, courtship, wedding ceremonies, and stories narrated through time. Through my research, I learned that Sape is not only just a musical instrument. It's about identity, tradition for the people in Borneo. Through music, it brings the heritage, the tradition of Orang Ulu people in Central Borneo comes to life. Sape is about music. It's about their culture and identity. It's about understanding people through their music. For centuries, this instrument was exclusively played by the men. Women weren't allowed to touch the instrument. There was a belief, if they did, their breasts would become longer. By 1960s, a well-preserved tradition faced its greatest threat, modernization. Young people left their longhouse for schools in the cities. Radio brought popular music to remote villages. The 6-string Western guitar became instrument of choice. Why learn traditional melodies as you could play the latest hits on the guitar? By 1990s, the situation was dire. Several Orang Ulu communities were without a single Sape player. Cassette tapes replaced live performances. A century-old tradition was gone, and no one seemed to notice and care. Then, here comes 1997, a year that would change everything. A Canadian musician named Randy Van Rouge came to Sarawak, searching for the traditional mouth organ. During his search, he met Tusau Padan, a master Sape player. Tusau played the memorizing Datun Julut tune. Then he handed the Sape to Randy, invited him to play. Randy was captivated by the unique sound of Sape. He took the Sape, improvised the tune on it. This encounter had led to something extraordinary. Randy not only recorded the traditional Sape tunes, but he produced a Masters of Sarawak Sape album featuring Tusau Padan. Seeing Sape as a potential, Randy took the bold step, bringing 4 musicians to perform at the Worldwide Music Expo in France. Imagine 4 traditional Sape players who never left their longhouse, standing at the modern concert stage at Marseilles, playing the ancient tunes of Borneo. The audience was moved to tears. The head of Worldwide Music Expo said something profound. We thought this kind of pure and soul-touching music was gone from the world. But here it is, alive. This single performance had triggered a chain reaction of change. The festival revealed a challenge and opportunity. Like any powerful catalyst, it didn't just create one change, it sparked multiple transformations simultaneously. The Sarawak homegrown Rainforest World Music Festival started a year later in 1998 to promote and preserve the culture of Sarawak. The festival icon has always been Sape. The festival introduced the world to Matthew Ngao Zhao, who's a master whose lifelong dedication to Sape has earned him the recognition of National Living Treasure of Malaysia and Living Heritage of Sarawak. The gentle voice of Sape couldn't fill a large venue. It was designed just for a confined space in the longhouse. This story of Sape teaches us something crucial about change. Adaptation doesn't mean losing identity. The Sape continued to evolve. Steel guitar string replaced the rattan. Electronic pickup gave its new power. The strings increased from 2 to 6. The tuning was standardized. 13 to 19 frets was placed on the soundboard of Sape, enhanced its ability to play different scale systems. And now the Sape is able to play with any musical instruments of the world. Cultural restriction began to resolve. Women, traditionally prohibited from touching the instrument, began learning the instrument. The Sape has bridged the gap between generation and culture. A whole new batch of young musicians were born and emerged ever since the Rainforest World Music Festival. The festival has provided a platform where traditional melodies meet contemporary sound, where cultural preservation meets innovation. The young Orang Ulu musicians and musicians from different ethnic backgrounds began to learn these instruments, creating new melodies while honoring the traditional Sape tunes. They rediscovered their own tradition, putting a fresh new spin on traditional music. In our rapidly changing world, we often think we must choose between preserving culture and embracing change. The Sape shows us a different way. The story of Sape teaches us something profound about change. With the right catalyst, it could transform something to both traditional and new, both rooted and revolutionary, and continue to be relevant throughout our history. We all face our moments of change, our own festival of transformation. The question is not whether to change or not. The question is how to evolve while keeping the legacy alive. Because of the Rainforest World Music Festival, the courage to embrace change. The ancient voices of Borneo, Sape, are now resonant to the world stage. It shows us that even the most endangered tradition could find new meaning, new life, new power in our modern world. We can be the catalyst for change in Sarawak.